डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Namaskar students. I, Dr. Bini Wagela, Assistant Professor from English Department, School of Humanities and Social Sciences from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad, welcome you all to this video lecture series of second year Bachelor of Arts in English. In this session, I am going to discuss Unit 4, The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde from paper number 4, The Study of Short Story. The structure of the session is, first of all, we will discuss introduction, then life and works of Oscar Wilde, critical assessment, themes and narrative technique. Let's start with the introduction. The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde is a short story. It tells the story of a happy prince who always remained happy as he was kept away and ignorant from the suffering of the poor people in his town. After his death, his statue is placed on a raised platform in the center of the city by the local authorities. The statue is studded with gold, eyes are made of sapphires, and rubies are attached to his sword. Those who passed by the statue appreciated the smile on the face of Happy Prince and the beauty of the statue, as it is studded with gems and gold. But being on a raised platform at the center of the city, the prince is no longer happy, as he witnesses the suffering and agony of the poor people of the town. Due to approaching winter, a swallow, a bird that is flying over to Egypt, comes and takes shelter near the statue of the Happy Prince. The swallow is surprised and sorry to see the tears filled in the eyes of the statue of the Happy Prince. The Happy Prince talks to the swallow about the pain he feels seeing the misery of the poor people and requests the swallow to stay back for one night and help him. The swallow decides to help the Happy Prince and stay back for the several nights. As commanded by the Happy Prince, the swallow removes the sapphires, rubies, and gold and drops it near the poor people who are in need. Both the Happy Prince and the swallow feel very happy serving the less privileged in the city. As winter approaches, the swallow is not able to bear the cold of the chilly winter and dies at the feet of the Happy Prince statue. Just at the moment the swallow dies and falls, the statue cracks down, especially the heart, that made up of lead, gets snapped into two parts. This shows that the Happy Prince is not able to bear the loss of his dear friend, the swallow. The statue is taken down by town councillors as it is no longer attractive and is sent to the foundry to melt. The entire statue melts down, but the heart does not. The workmen throw away the heart of the statue where the swallow is lying dead. God's angels take the heart of the Happy Prince and the swallow to the heaven, as they are the most precious things on the earth. God is also happy seeing the heart of the Happy Prince and the swallow, and therefore gives them a place in his garden of paradise. Now let's discuss life and works of Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde was born on 16th October 1854 in Dublin. Oscar was the second child of the three born to Jane Francisco Wilde and William Wilde. Sir William Wilde was a famous eye and ear surgeon. Oscar's mother, Lady Jane Francisca Wilde, was a renowned poetess of her time, writing patriotic Irish verse. She was famously known as Speranza. Oscar had an elder brother named William and younger sister named Isola, who died at the age of 10. Oscar Wilde received his primary education at Portora Royal School. In 1871, he went to Trinity College, Dublin, and then Magdalen College in Oxford, England, to study classics. At Oxford, he got involved with the aesthetic movement that advocated art for art's sake. He was highly influenced by the critic Walter Pater's aesthetic philosophy. At Magdalen College, he not only excelled in his studies but also started establishing his literary career and won Oxford's Newdigate Prize for his poem Ravenna in the year 1878. After graduating from Oxford University, he decided to move to London, and there he continued to focus on writing poetry. In 1881, he got his first collection of poems published titled Poems. In 1882, Wilde traveled to New York City on a tour where he delivered several lectures. There he got an opportunity to meet the leading literary figures like Walt Whitman, Oliver Holmes, Henry Longfellow. After his return from America, he lectured in England and Ireland. In the year 1884, Wilde married Constance Lloyd, daughter of Anglo-Irish barrister named Horace Lloyd. The couple was blessed with two sons named Cyril and Vivian. In 1887, Wilde started working with Woman's World magazine, and in 1888 he got The Happy Prince and Other Tales published. In 1891, two collections of short story titled Lord Arthur Saville's Crime and Other Stories and A House of Pomegranates were published. Along with the short stories, he published his first novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. However, this novel did not receive a positive response from the literary critics as it had element of homoerotic in it and lacked the element of ethics. In 1892, he wrote a play titled Lady Windermere's Fan, which was a great success. He even wrote Salome in same year. With the success of Lady Windermere's Fan, Wilde decided that he would move ahead with writing plays. In 1895, Wilde developed an affair with Lord Alfred Douglas. When Douglas' father came to know about this, he accused Wilde of sodomy. Wilde was found guilty for the crime and was sentenced to 2 years of prison. In prison, he wrote a dramatic monologue and an autobiography. Later, when he was released in the 1897, he penned the Ballad of Reading Gaol. After his release from the prison, he found himself physically weak and emotionally broken. He started wandering in France, living in low-cost hotels. On 30th November 1990, he died of cerebral meningitis in a hotel in Paris. Now let's discuss critical assessment. We will discuss themes first in critical assessment and then narrative techniques. Now let's start with the themes. The Victorian age witnessed a transition from nature to rapid industrialization, development of advanced technology, and rapid colonization. It was the age where aristocrats ruled, the proletariat class suffered out of poverty and exploitation. Class division became more apparent, and the lower class people became the sufferers of this class divide. Wilde belonged to this Victorian era and became critical of the age in which he lived. He could witness corruption, suffering, etc. in the society. Therefore, through the Happy Prince, he aimed to bring to the surface the theme of nobility, charity, and compassion in a world that was being corrupted and was becoming insensitive towards the suffering of the underprivileged and the needy. Wilde's choice of characters, their actions, and intentions impinges the moral and poignant side of the readers. Through the story of the selflessness and sacrifice of the happy prince and the swallow, Wilde evokes emotion of compassion, pain, and mercy in the readers. Appearance versus reality is the predominant theme in Wilde's The Happy Prince. The statue of Happy Prince that was studded with rubies, sapphires, and gold brought smiles on the faces of the people when they looked at his jovial face. But no one could see the agony in the heart of the happy prince as he witnessed suffering and anguish of poor people in the town. Thus, though the happy prince had a smile on his face, the irony was that he was extremely unhappy with what was happening in the city. And therefore, the happy prince, rather than looking the way people expected him to look, ends up in toasted state as a result of his care and concern for the needy and the poor. Once the happy prince had sacrificed his rubies, sapphires, and gold, he no longer appears to be attractive and happy to town people. The councillors, and especially the mayor, who ordered to bring down the statue of the happy prince and replace it with his own. The mayor and the town councillors pretend to be dedicated towards their work, and the people of the town, whereas the happy prince and the swallow actually work for the town people and ultimately sacrifice themselves for the sake of the poor people. The responsibilities of the town councillors are carried out the happy prince and the swallow. Compassion and sacrifice for the less privileged forms another predominant theme of the story. The happy prince feels miserable when he witnesses the poor people's suffering and therefore sacrifices the gold, rubies, and sapphires that embellish him for the sake of the poor people. He even does not mind giving away the sapphires from his eyes that would result in his blindness. He realizes that more than him, it is the town's citizens that need the rubies and gold with which he is adorned, and therefore becomes ready to be stripped of everything he has. Thus, the happy prince, through his altruism, becomes a source of happiness for the poor in the society. The swallow too sacrifices his life while helping the happy prince. He sacrifices his life by deciding not to fly to Egypt and dies in the freezing winter. Wilde was devoted Christian all through his life, and therefore he gives a biblical touch to the story The Happy Prince, where the sacrifice of the happy prince and the swallow are rewarded by God. The angels present the hearts of the happy prince and the swallow to the Lord, calling them the two most precious things in the city. And the Lord keeps them in his garden of paradise. The happy prince and the swallow have lived their life the way God wanted and therefore are blessed by God by finding a place in heaven. The bond between human and non human is vividly explored by Wilde in the story The Happy Prince. Wilde gives life to the statue and lets the swallow and the happy prince develop a bond of trust and love with one another, and this bond removes misery from the society. Swallow feels sorry for sad prince and becomes ready to his messenger and help him in eradicating misery from the society. The swallow develops such an intense bond with the happy prince, and that it stays back in the chilly winter to help the happy prince, knowing that it would die out of cold. Unable to bear the cold, the swallow kisses the happy prince and falls down at the feet of the happy prince and dies. The heart of the happy prince also breaks into two parts, seeing the dead swallow. The intensity of love and trust between the happy prince and the swallow, and the way swallow tries its best to help the needy, shows that even the birds possesses the feeling of compassion, love, and trust for the other beings. Wilde in his story has also explored the theme of greed, self-indulgence, inequality, and poverty in the society. Wilde makes a scathing attack on self-indulgence. Wilde makes a scathing attack on self-indulgence and corruption of the town authorities and the representatives of the town, who are appointed for the well-being of the society. Through the two town councillors and the mayor, who are selfish and corrupt, Wilde shows how these authorities use their power for their own welfare. They are shown in negative light when the mayor announces that the statue of the happy prince should be replaced by his own statue. Secondly, the watchman, who is entrusted with the role of safeguarding the society, shouts at the two hungry children who are lying under the archway of a bridge in one another's arm to keep themselves warm. He asks them to go away, and the children left wandering in the rain. The inequality in society is seen when the rich are happy and making merry in their big and beautiful mansions, while the beggars are sitting outside the gates and the children are dying out of starvation. Thus, through the story The Happy Prince, Wilde has critically presented the society of his time that was insensitive and unconcerned toward the suffering of the weaker section of the society. Yet, through the character of the happy prince and the swallow, Wilde has shown that though there exists exploitation and suffering in the society, there are few who devote their lives for the noble cause. Now let's discuss narrative technique. Wilde wrote this story for children, and through this story, he wanted to teach them the lesson of compassion and mercy for the poor. Therefore, he adopted a very simple and lucid style of writing the story. The author has avoided long description in story so that the readers do not find it difficult to interpret the message behind the story. The story is told from third person point of view where the author stays outside the story and narrates the story using pronouns like he, she, it, and they to tell the story. Wilde uses the technique of presenting a story within a story, and it is also called frame narrative, where he begins with the story of the happy prince and the swallow, and gradually inside the story tells another story of a seamstress whose son is ill, a young man who is unable to write a play for the director of the theater because he is hungry and suffering from cold, and a match girl whose matchsticks have fallen into the gutter and are wet, and therefore her father would beat her if she returns home without taking money. Wilde deploys the literary device of satire in the story. The story satirizes the people, especially the aristocrats and the town authorities during the Victorian era. The society, in spite of progressing, was shallow from inside and was filled with the vices, corruption, and inequality. Irony is yet another device used by Wilde to show contrasting situation in the society. People looked at the statue of the happy prince and thought that he was very happy. But the irony was that as he was placed high pillar, he could see the agony and suffering of the poor and was extremely unhappy and distressed about it. Second instance of the use of irony is when the swallow flies over to the city, sees the rich people making merry and the poor people starving outside the gates. The rich people are very happy and enjoying in the big mansions, but the irony is that these people are ignorant or choose to be unaware about the poor people that are dying out of hunger outside the gates. Through the story of the compassion, charity, and sacrifice of the happy prince and the swallow, and how they are taken to the heaven by the angels, Wilde gives an allegorical meaning to the story. Wilde brings in biblical allusions in the story towards the end, when the angels bring the bird and the heart of the happy prince to the god, and how the god gives them a place in the heaven. This makes the story and its moral etch in the mind of the readers. The Happy Prince is not just a story of Happy Prince and the Swallow, but it is a story of compassion and sacrifice for the well being of the society. This story is really very touchy, and you can visualize this story on YouTube also. This the documentary of the short story is available on YouTube. You have to just go on the YouTube and search the name The Happy Prince, and you will find a very beautiful documentary based on this story. This the the documentary will really help you to understand this story in detail. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next video lecture with another unit. Thank you. Namaskar.
तपस्यायः परमं तप